Abuja, Nigeria. I am Khadija. Oluwatoyin Amin. This week on Agric economy, we have economists who takes us through a different topic in the person of Mr. Gabriel Dakolo. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Today's topic is going to be a focus on agri-financing and economic growth. I know we've talked about this, but this topic cannot be overflogged because the sector is growing. The people are expectant, citizens are expectant. The federal government has dropped their roadmap, and then there should be a means of a reminder on what that promised the citizenry to do and the rest. So the platform is basically to advise, as an expert, what needs to be done. Yes, for the benefit of those viewers that just joining us for the first time, because I know we've treated this topic before. What agri-financing?
Agri-financing, as we know, is providing financial backing or financial support in the agricultural sector, around the agricultural value chain. Because of the nature of agriculture, depending on the level you want to play, it can be capital intensive. And looking at where we are coming from, when we say subsistence farming, that is the easiest form of agriculture, to be able to cultivate the farm or do small level poultry and be able to probably feed the family and sell a little bit. But we know that the world has moved on to other better opportunities in agriculture, in the various value chain of agriculture. So this comes up with different measures that needs to be taken to be able to ensure that there is higher yield for agricultural products and agricultural seed and seedlings. So research comes in, and research, because of its nature, is capital intensive, and effective or successful research can bring a very good turnaround in agricultural practice. So the other issues are other ways of enhancing agricultural practices in Nigeria, which is also capital intensive. That is securing the land, irrigation, extension services, and logistics that comes with it. And that is why agri-financing is very important. Most farmers that are playing on the lower level are not able to grow as they should, or as fast as they should, or increase their yield because of the level of financing that they have. Some of them have not even been able to migrate to scientific farming or other improved farming practices that needs to be done due to the purchase of inputs and other things, also due to financing. And that is why agri-finance is very important, to be able to take care of the whole agricultural value chain, not forgetting the fact that failure in agriculture can lead to famine, can lead to food insecurity, can lead to unemployment. It can also lead to strife in the land that can lead to resentment by the people. So these are some of the things that makes it very imperative for us to have successful agricultural practices along the various value chains.
Yes, you talked about food sustainability. I was going to touch on that quickly. We've been talking about food sustainability for the past administration. Touched on that, and then since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board, in fact, it was what first amongst his top agenda that he talked about. Yes, we've seen past administrations put in chunks of money in ensuring that this sector thrive. In May last year, the past term, Minister of Agriculture Mahmoud Mohammed, I can remember vividly Bank of Industry, they put in 5 billion naira for livestock farmers. Yes, we see the dairy, produce coming out with very high prices. Yes, we know that. I want to get it. Does it mean that Nigerians should not expect does it mean that this financing of some of this sector is just to ease the workload of these farmers, or it's supposed to have a direct translation into the general market? Because if you see it, even in November thereabouts, the head of civil service of the federation gave loan to civil servants for them to go into as a entrepreneur, this thing for civil servants. Now, we see this money is coming. We hear Bank of Agriculture say they have given so amount to farmers. We hear so many loans and grants coming up and the rest of it. Yet, we see that food items, it is not translatory, it's not corresponding with what is in the market. What's happening?
The truth is that agric financing as itself, or creating capital for agric alone, does not translate directly to reduction in food prices. There are so many factors that affect food prices reduction.
Okay.
Because we have factors that create inflation in the sector that makes food inflation also rife in this country. And if those issues are not handled, no matter the input that is being used in the agri sector in form of financing, it might still not translate to cheaper food prices.
So what are these problems?
Now, these problems, one of them is the cost and the continuous devaluation of naira, which is exacerbated by the continuous scarcity of US dollars. And I used to say that because US dollar is like a de facto economic currency that Nigeria uses, if the US dollar value goes up, it affects virtually everything in Nigeria. Why this happens is because Nigeria is an import-dependent economy, and the major currency for our import is the US dollars. And if there is scarcity of it, that means more people will scramble for the few that is available. And what that does is that when those products are brought into the country, whether they are input or implement of machinery, there will be need to put the cost of purchase, the cost of sourcing the funds and everything, and that adds up to what leads to constant increase in cost of goods and services, and that leads to also constant increase in food inflation. So the key issue is that in as much as the government continues to pump money, as it were, into agricultural value chain, we have not reached the level where it will get to self-sustainability and having these products in excess to the extent that competition will force others to reduce their prices. The level that it will get to, that competition will force others to reduce their prices, is when we have these products in excess, and we have not gotten there yet. So everyone is still playing by the cost of their product and the profit margin that they need to get. So government needs to expand the scope of the financing that is being given probably to smallholder farmers or commercial farmers, to the extent that it will bring enough produce into the country, to the extent that it will lead to a stiff competition for reduction of prices. I'll give you an example which we are going to get to very soon, maybe by the middle of this year. Nigeria used to import petroleum products before because we lack refining capacity. But today, Dangote refinery has commenced operation, and it has the capacity to supply petroleum products to Nigeria even more than our need. Port Harcourt refinery is also on stream and also has capacity to supply a portion of what we need. And other refineries have also come up. So it's going to get to a level whereby there will be competition in the system, and because you want to sell your refined product, you might likely need to reduce your price to be able to get it into the system, just like the cost of international crude all around the world. If the cost is going down, OPEC, for example, will be forced to reduce cost so that their members can get contract sales. So that is what will also happen in the agri sector. When there is enough in the system, in food produce, in seedlings research, that has made food products to be more than enough for the people. So the producers of these products will not have any other option than to reduce the cost on the long run. We have not gotten there yet, and that's where the challenge is.
Okay, aside government finance, we've been talking about government financing, government spearheading, and the rest of it. You one time in the program talked about investors coming in on board to take the sector, make it more viable and the rest of it. How can we go about this? Because the truth is, if you check it, we have so many factors that are hindering. If you look at security, look at all other. But if you still look at it, nations worldwide have similar issues. Are these predominantly happening there as well?
The thing is that when we put agriculture in Nigeria or probably in Africa side by side with insecurity in Africa and Nigeria, for example, farming, for example, or agricultural practice will find it difficult to thrive without security, because we know the place of security in farming. We have seen so many commercial farmers, proprietors and owners being kidnapped in this country. We have seen situations whereby even farm staff have challenges with probably Fulani men or other kidnap teams. So the issue of insecurity plays a lot of role in the interest of people as regards farming in Nigeria, both the smallholder farmers and the commercial farmers. Unlike what obtains in other climes, where as much as possible security is being provided for farmlands and for agricultural practices that helps them on a long run to ensure that their processes are unhindered and their farm practices are not affected. So now, taking it to Nigeria in a holistic approach, you discover that even the smallholder farmers in agrarian communities not only have challenges of kidnapping, but they also have challenges with the preservation of the crops that they have produced, because we discover that people that have produced corn, wheat and the others all over the country, they just wake up the next morning close to harvest and discover that cows have come in, have eaten as much as possible and have destroyed the others, thereby causing huge losses. And this also tied to the weak Agric insurance finance we have in Nigeria, to the extent that even if your farm is insured, because of the weak and some policies that will not clearly be stated to you, you might not actually recover the value of what you have lost or being indemnified as much. So insecurity is very, very key, and that is one of the reasons why even those that are in this farming business, whether smallholder farmers and commercial farmers, are pulling back or are not exerting enough energy into it. The other aspect is the aspect that government needs to support, which is in ensuring that there is a level of security in farms and commercial agricultural practices. I heard of recent that the government wants to establish what we call forest guards. If we have forest guards in Nigeria that are well trained, that know the modus operandi of their work and ensure that they work according to professional ethics, it can reduce the insecurity that farmers experience to a great extent. Because largely the insecurity that farmers experience in Nigeria has to do with non-state actors, Fulani men, and kidnapping gangs that makes it difficult for farmers to operate freely and to be able to put their best to bring out outputs that will ensure successful farming in Nigeria. So the other aspect of it, which also is very, very important, is the government policies. So
before we take the government policies and how it works, we take a quick break and return. The program continues. Stay tuned. economy on ARSN Television, Abuja, Nigeria, and I am Khadija Oluwatoyin. I mean, it's been a very smooth and educating episode today, as we have been looking at agri-financing and economic growth, and so much has been said by our guest. He is about to tell us what government has been doing. Let's hear from you, sir.
Yes, talking about government policies, we have discovered over time that in the past, government policies has not really helped to lift the farmers as much as it should. Situation whereby loans that are given out to farmers did not directly get to the farmers that needs it. Some of these loans are diverted for other uses, and some people that got these loans with already signed agreement for repayment failed to make repayment, whereas hindering others from receiving that same opportunity. But this new administration, right from the inception last year, stated that government is going to provide agricultural loans, provide land, and also monitoring of these loans to ensure that the people that needs it are able to get it, and it is measured and monitored. When government policy is effectively implemented in the agri sector, it's going to bring about positive results. We discovered that because the loans that were given in the past were not properly monitored, so we discovered that there were low repayment or even no repayment at the time. There were losses to government, and because these funds were diverted, it did not lift the agri sector, and we did not see the overall effect of it. So when government is turning out this new set of loans, it must be monitored. It must ensure that those that are given, the terms and conditions are met, and it's also given to varied number of Nigerians, because that's where the problem is. What we are battling with in Nigeria is the ability to have food sufficiency, which we have not gotten to. So if we are able to give as many youth as possible training in agriculture, funds to start, the land to start, agric extension, as vis-a-vis even those that practice commercial agriculture, it will help to have diversification in different areas. And at the end of the day, the yield will increase, the competition can now be there, and the price also will be affected positively. So government should not just say we are giving out loans and without ensuring that it gets to the right target people, and also ensure as well that the terms of repayment is strictly adhered to, so that others can also benefit from it.
Okay, yes, I remember that, like I said earlier, what should have been a more achievable interest rate? Because when you look at it, you see some banks will tell you, maybe now, let me say for commercial banks, and they tell you, I don't know how they put those their percentage, and then for a farmer who has just an acre of land, I would think of it that the percentage on top of this money, by the time he's paying, is almost half the money he borrows. What can we do?
Actually, that is why the government decided to come in, because you discover that an average bank in Nigeria, even not forgetting the fact that they have Agric desk, do not actually give smallholder farmers facilities because of the interest rate. We are talking of interest rate of between 25 to 30% per annum, which is relatively high for a farmer. And most farmers will not be able to pay such kind of interest because of the rate of returns that is for the farmers itself. So the issue that we are facing is that the government has taken initiative to ensure that the loans that are going to be given to farmers, whether smallholder farmers or commercial farmers, is single digit. The effect and importance of single digit loan per annum is that it takes care of the farmer's operational costs, and also ensures that when repayment is being made, depending on the period of repayment, the farmer will still have a better profit on the long run. And that is why the government is still going to pass through some commercial banks to disburse these loans, but the loans is actually coming from the government. The commercial banks do not have the capacity to give loans at single-digit interest rate, because at the rate they collect their deposit as well, it's not single-digit. So that is why some of them might not be able to give. And another aspect is the duration of these loans. Because of the nature of funds that commercial banks use to attract, they are short-term funds, and agriculture needs long-term funds, which only the government can provide for now, or foreign multilateral agencies like IFAO, International Food Organizations, and the rest that have the capacity to provide such. Commercial banks in Nigeria cannot give loan facilities to farmers that will span 5 years, for example. So those are the two challenges, and that is why government needs to come in to ensure that single-digit loans are given to farmers so that they can survive, and ensure that the business is profitable to them, and the duration should be well staggered so that they can be able to have enough time for repayment, considering other factors that might come in, and also ensure that there is proper agric insurance in place to indemnify farmers when there is natural disaster or invasion of their farmlands, or there are other products like poultry or dairy or the rest, or through disasters of bird flu and the rest.
Okay, yes. Looking at, I think one time ago, I was at an insurance firm asking them how they go about, insuring a farm and the rest of it, and then they came about looking at the kind of farm you're having, if you're going to, if it's for birds and what affects birds the most and the rest of it. Now we have farmers. I know I had spoken to a farmer in Mpape community there who said the loan that he's getting, for example, I just want to peg it in an amount. For example, he's applying for, so to say, maybe a 50 million naira, and then banks are willing to give him just 5 to 10 million naira, and that's barely
It's a tip
from what he needs,
yes,
and it's like frustrating for him. Yes, he's gotten some equipment and what not to work with, but then it's so. Is there no law, so to say, that enforces, because we know that it's not every time that this Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry,
yes.
gives loan to farmers. The loan is not like you just walk in and you get it, and then,
Time,
yes, it doesn't no, is there nothing that can be done to commercial bank in ensuring that in the process of having to give this loan and removing your interest from the deductions that comes in here, is there no way to mandate them to ensure that, okay, you're doing this, you're getting this, and we know that from this same money you're getting your money, like quarter back even before the person pays this loan, because your charges are running and the rest of it. Can banks not be mandated to ensure that, okay, once you see the plan of that farmer and the rest of it, and inspection has been done, that you give the farmer the loan?
The central bank that monitors, that regulates banks, they have tried as much as possible to ensure and to admonish banks to have what we call Agric desk. It is from the Agric desk that appraisals are made for loan facilities by farmers. But even at that, we must know that banks, commercial banks in Nigeria, and deposit money banks are private holdings, and the CBN cannot mandate them to engage in a business that will bring losses to them. Even the CBN ensures that loans that they are given are collateralized, because if they are not collateralized and the loan crystallizes, that is, repayment is not made, the bank is made is made to pay some fines, is made to make provisionings for those loans, and it will hit the bottom line of the banks. So in as much as the central bank carries out the wishes of the federal government to ensure that banks respond to agricultural ventures, The bank also has the right to ensure due diligence and their bottom line is not affected when these loans are given. And that is why you cannot see a central bank mandate commercial banks to give their own funds to farmers at a single digit, because they know that they do not have that right. And two, they know the banks can adequately say the source of their funding cannot accommodate that. But what the central bank can do, and which they have been doing, is that when these funds are sourced, they ensure that the commercial banks do the due diligence, ensure that everything that needs to be done is done as regards the agricultural loan. And the bank is funded by the central bank to give out such loans to commercial farmers and smallholder farmers. That in itself also does not stop the fact that it must be collateralized, because it's a CBN guideline. So the much that the commercial banks wants to give these loans, they believe that the risk that is tied to agric business is too high for them to factor, and that is why most of the time they try not to give as much as the farmer wants, because of varied problems that they foresee can happen. We can, for instance, have flooding that will cause the whole farmland to become unprofitable on the long run. We can have angry birds that will come and destroy the produce. We can also have unrest, drought, and the rest. The banks put all these things in perspective, knowing that they are there for profit making and not a non-governmental organization. They decide to now choose which one to take. But I tell you that when it comes to agri financing in commercial banks and deposit money banks, it has the lower rung of their priorities.
Because like you said, the Agric desks, I've never entered any bank and see them, and just the way you see customer care, you see I've never seen anywhere where they'll tell you that this is the Agric desk. You only see the security stand. Thank you so much for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you've heard it. Despite all, commercial banks has little as agri financing is at the bottom of their list of what they do there. On that note, you know too well to join your association around you, so that that way you can put in funds together and you do your farming business. That's how we wrap it up on Agric Economy this week. Join us again next week, as it promises to be an educating one. Bye.